Okay, hello. Here I am again, bringing you a new build. We have just moved on to Teamfight Tactics set 3.5. It is the mid-season. They've came in, they've took out some champs, they've put in some new ones, and this allows us to get some new builds out there and on the board. So let's jump into it, and I'm going to be showing you my latest build that I've been using to win games, which is Protector Chronos. And now, with these Protector Chronos, we are not just going to jump around the issue and kind of half include protectors in the guide like some other guides. We are going to go full maximum shields. We want our protectors in there in the front line being good, big and strong. Now, this was a guide I did try out at the end of last season, or the end of 3. And I tried doing protectors and it just wasn't that great, but we have some fantastic new additions to the game which allows us to do a great guide, and this is Ergun and Revin. They allow us to complete the build and get a very good, very strong, high fidelity, always ulting, always shielding team of Protector Chronos. So my endgame level 9 final build consists of all the protectors Xin Zhao, Nico, Jarvan, Rakan and Ergun. And on the Chrono side we have Thresh, Shen, Revin and Blitz. Now, one of the things we're doing here is we're getting all the protectors, and one of the things I want them to do is to be constantly casting as fast as possible and keeping those shields up, and if these shields go down they can keep casting again. So that's the main reason I've got Chronos, because that's an easy way to keep them getting more mana, because with more attack speed, every attack means they can get more mana, which means they can cast faster and keep going and keep surviving. Now, while having a small amount of Chronos doesn't give the best benefits for attack speed, because we only have 4, which means we only get attack speed every 3.5 seconds. On the plus side, we have Jarvan on the protector side, which means early game, as soon as you pop off, he pops off his ult, gives everyone around him 100% attack speed, and by the time that dwindles away and that ultimate is over, our Chrono kicks in. So even though our Chrono doesn't go immediately, Jarvan is making up for that early loss of attack speed, and we are getting the ball rolling, and we are rolling hard. And one of my favorite things we have as well with this build is we've got 5 CC champions: Xin Zhao, Nico, Rakan, Ergun and Blitz, which gives us a lot of CC, a lot of lockdown, and we can keep disabling the enemy as we cast over and over while keeping shields, staying healthy and staying strong. Now, with this build we have some fantastic early game and we have some fantastic late game. So we can get 4 of our protectors very early on, okay? And we can get 4 Chronos very early on. Now, we may not get all the Chronos we need early on, and they may not be as good as their late game counterparts, but the main reason we have these is to buff our protectors, okay? This build is around keeping the protectors casting, and while it's not ideal to maybe have a Caitlyn or a TF, they are cheap and they can be easily replaced, and they do grant us that buff that we need so very much. Now, Ergun is an extreme fine addition to our team. He's just arrived in the latest patch. He is now part of set 3.5 and he provides a nice bit of CC. He can lock a champion down for quite a while and he deals tons of damage. So one of the things before Ergun came along with our protectors was, while they did give lots of CC and they did have some survivability, they didn't necessarily have the damage there to make them last longer and contribute more to the team and contribute more to getting kills. But Ergun can just shut them down. Now, let's move on to Revin. Revin is the crux of our team. Revin is what makes our team work, blend and synergize. She is a much needed unit. So the moment I saw Revin, I knew she would be fantastic for my maximum shield build, because whenever she ults, she gets a shield and she deals magic damage. So what we do is we've got 5 protectors. we need one more so we can get that 55% shield protector buff, and we are going to make Revin a protector using the protector's chest guard, which means Revin will shield every time she ults from her default ult, but now on top of that, she's gained that extra 55 shields, so she will survive. She's much more difficult to kill now. Tons of damage absorption. And on top of that, I also give Revin a Warmogs for extra survivability. It gives that extra health, which makes her shield even larger, even bigger. Blitz is a major member on our Chrono side because Blitz is some nice instant CC and he can target that backline where, well, people keep some of their most vulnerable champions who they want to protect. So Blitz is great for just locking someone down immediately off the bat. Now Shen is there. Why Shen? We do have other Chronos. We have a Wukong. We could switch him in and then we could have 6 CC champs. So why do we have the Shen? Well, we are trying to buff our protectors and help them survive, and when they are the most vulnerable is the start of the game before they have casted, and Shen often gets his ult relatively fast. So if Shen ults early on, everyone else around him can get off their ultimate and get off their shields so that they can then survive, hopefully the enemy's ultimate, and then get their shields back off again because they're then taking damage and gaining more mana. In addition, we also have Thresh there, and the way we are using Thresh, we've got him towards the back, got a good line of protectors and melee champions in front of him, and that back line is a little bit empty, so Thresh's job is to stay alive in that back line and bring in people from the board. And one of the great things about this is majority of our champs are CC, so every time Thresh can bring someone in, he's bringing more CC into the game to allow us to live longer. Also, another thing we're doing is we are buying a Janna in our late game. Why are we buying Janna, you may ask? Well, we are buying Janna so that we can stop other people getting Janna and stop getting a 3-star Janna. Because if she is with a Star Guardian team, they can just burn us down with all that true damage. Also, we can have Janna on the board because just by herself, she is very useful at buffing other people and providing that extra CC. So, if it is the end game or towards the 8th game and we do not have an Ergun or we do not have a Thresh, we can have our Janna there just as a little play stop. And even then, even once we get an Ergun, we have a Thresh and we have our full team on the board, we can keep Janna on the board to stop people getting her, and Thresh can bring her in for that extra CC as the round goes on. So, items. What items should we be getting to combo with our build? Well, there's not that many I actually recommend. There's a couple of obvious ones, so I recommend you get the Protector's Chest Guard, which goes on Revin to help her survive, and the Warmogs definitely to go on to Revin so she can survive. Apart from that, there's not many items I would recommend. I would say I mainly stick to getting health items, especially on the carousel. But you can play up with a lot of combos, and this is where this guide is a little bit more flexible because these champions are just great on their own, so you can use your items to adapt to the game instead of changing your champions to adapt to the enemy team. A couple of ones I do recommend though is just on Nico. I always put a Spear of Shojin so that she can just ult as much as possible because she has that AoE ult, and as we get her leveling up to a 2-star and 3-star, that ult gets longer. And another one I do is on Rakan. I add a Gwynso's Rage Blade just so he can dart around the map and keep providing CC, which means if someone's ever getting held down, there's a good chance he may be able to get over there to CC them, and the more CCs he's doing, the more he's jumping around the board and helping everyone while they're trying to survive or regen health, especially because we still do have a 2 celestial buff, so we do have a 15% lifesteal that people have going on. Positioning. My positioning is goddamn awful. I don't know how to position properly, so I'm getting wins with this build even though I'm not the best at positioning. I don't actually really know how to position people well, but I'm going to tell you how I do position this. So while I do have my max shields, I want all my protectors to hold the line. I put them kind of diagonally over this section of the board so that when the enemy team comes to us, they're going to be lining up right next to them. They're kind of going in for the front line first. So on the front, the very front row, I've got my strongest champion, and then going all the way to the back, we kind of have our weaker ones a bit on. And by creating this full line, hopefully we're stopping people just running straight to the back line. Obviously, we still have infiltrators that are jumping over. So in our back line, we have our Ergun, we have our Revin, and we have our Thresh. And the great thing about Thresh is he brings people in. We've got those couple of empty spaces. So if someone does jump to the back and they jump onto Thresh is getting back up relatively quickly. And yeah, that's it. This is just about holding the line. Ergun is very well protected. We want to protect him. Up towards the front, we have our Revin. And Revin is surrounded by a small group of people, so when he ults, he can collect them together. Shen as well, he's surrounded by a group of people, so when he ults, he can protect them. And that is how they are. You should play around with your positioning a lot more than me, because you probably know better. So anyway, that is our full Protector Chrono guide. Thank you for watching. I hope you can try this build out and try and get some wins. I wanted to make a guide where we actually went full Protector, and we tried to buff them a bit more, so not just to give them magic resist and pair them with mystics, or to just give them some lifesteal, because the shields and the amount of shields you get and the CC you get makes up for that lifesteal you can get going Protector Celestial. Like and subscribe if you would like to see any more League of Legends guides in the future. It is not the only thing I do on my channel. I do some more kind of vlog stuff, and I do more game related stuff and techie stuff, but at the moment, it is something I quite enjoy doing, so I think I will definitely do maybe one more dedicated to teamfight tactics at the moment, because we do have the new mid-season, and we do have a lot of things coming, and people will try the main builds initially, so maybe I might want to try one that's a bit less conventional after everyone goes for the mainstream stuff. So I hope you've enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you would like to see any more League of Legends guides in the future, or just to check out my other content.